Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to look at just your basic acrylic medium, and I'm just looking at the matte gel. So this is one that I would recommend for just extending your paint a little bit, like making the paint go a little further and increasing its workability, which just means this is going to be almost like adding, instead of adding water, you can add stuff like this to your paint to help it blend a little bit better and just move a little bit differently on the canvas. So this can be helpful for you if you wanted to move into a more professional or high quality result. So for example, you might also want to invest in different acrylics, like the heavy bodied professional Liquitex acrylics. These are what I have here is just the Liquitex Basics acrylics. So I'll show the difference between those so you could get an idea of the consistency and the difference of that. I'm just going to use the yellow because this yellow is a little more similar. So this is like a heavy bodied acrylic. Now, one thing you might want to do when you're mixing your gels is to, like if you mix in your gel medium, use a palette knife. So see how I can scoop out some of that, and it's pretty thick. I'm going to put it here. It almost looks like white paint. So all this is technically the paint without the pigment. So it's the same stuff. It just doesn't have pigment in it. So there's just no color, and it's not white. So the white paint is this. It also has white pigment. So it has like, there is technically a color to it. This is like clear and it looks white, but it dries clear. So we have this. And then if I add to it, I'm just going to use like the red because it's brighter. And then you mix that in. And notice how it basically, once you get it all mixed in, it's really not much different from the actual starting paint. And it moves just a little more fluidly, So again, this is like in lieu of adding water. And this is if you're just doing like, this is not for like acrylic pouring, that you would want to use like a flow aid, something that's like really watery to make the paint almost like runny, to do that kind of painting. But this is just if you're doing like what we normally do in my tutorials, and you just want to extend the life of your paint. So notice I just took a little bit of the red and I used a lot of that, and it just makes your paint look a little bit, or it just makes it move a little more flowy. So see how I can like spread it on and it really flows. I'm just showing you how it flows. This is the one that has the medium in it. And then this one doesn't. So this one's going to be a little stickier and like less flowy. So it's essentially like what you're doing is just using this instead of adding water like I normally do. Adding water is just your cheaper option, and it's totally fine. But this is just going to extend your paint a little bit more and give it a higher quality finish. So you just want to, decide what you want to do when you're, picking your stuff. And maybe this is a good option for your next step if you're one of the people who struggles with blending. But I did have a good question come through one time where someone was saying, oh, I heard it was not good to add water to your paint. I don't like to have any like hard rules like that, because I feel like you can totally add water and it's not, you're still going to get a result. And most of my paintings I do make that way because I'm thinking of cost effectiveness. So it's going to be fine. But see how if I use you could use the professional paint, mix it in. And it also, you can just play with mixing different colors into this gel medium. Just think of it as an extender for your paint. It's just going to make your paint flow a little bit better. It'll make it dry a little bit slower, and it's going to give it a slightly more silky finish rather than a sticky kind of finish. So I highly recommend, if you want to take it to the next level, you're going to get your acrylic matte gel, or if you want like a glossy finish, they have a glossy one. I'm just using the matte gel. And then you can also use your heavy bodied professional grade acrylics in the same brand. So it's just it's just a step up, and it's a way to, instead of using this mixed with water, you're using this mixed with your acrylic medium, the matte gel, and it's just going to have a different feel, and you will notice that it's a little easier to work with. So a lot of times people, I will say you can make art with anything, but you will get better results the higher quality materials you use. So with that said, have fun playing with your acrylic mediums. Again, all you do is mix them with the palette knife into the paint that you want, and you're good to go. So you don't have to do anything else. And I hope it helps for those who are maybe wondering, what can I do something else besides water? The water feels kind of feels like it's lowering the quality. And again, yes, it does. So this will be higher quality, and maybe that's your next step. So have fun playing with those acrylic mediums, and thanks for painting with me. Hopefully you learned a little bit, and give it a try. Have a beautiful day. Thanks for watching. Bye.